Hello and welcome to my channel. This is my first video and today I'm going to talk with you about tips for dealing with your toxic parents. If interactions with your parents continually leave you feeling drained or overwhelmed, you may be dealing with toxic parents. Here's how to cope. The word toxic is often used to describe someone who may behave in the way that's harmful to others. How can you identify toxic behaviors in your parents? Identifying toxic behaviors in your parents may not be easy. It might be more helpful to first acknowledge how interacting with them might make you feel. Your parents may have toxic traits if interactions with them leave you feeling confused and unsure of yourself, bad about yourself in some way, continually judged, guilty for saying no, drained, angry, or overwhelmed, like you're not being respected, like you're being manipulated, the need to change your behavior, like you're constantly walking on eggshell around them. What are the common traits of toxic parents? Noting how your parents make you feel is good first step. But there are also some toxic traits you can look out for, such as they may be manipulative and controlling, they may be critical of your choices and your lifestyle. It may be difficult to emotionally separate yourself from them and make your own choices or set your own goals. They may constantly judge you and those in your life, such as friends and romantic partners. They may seem overly needy. They may not see themselves as the problem. They may say it's you or the people in your life who are the problem. Now we have 10 tips for dealing with toxic parents. If you recognize some of these toxic traits in your parents, there are ways to cope with these behaviors. Strategy number 1. This is very important. Stop trying to please them. It's natural to want your parents' approval, but it can seem impossible to please parents with toxic behaviors. Remember that this is your life and you're allowed to make your own choices and do what makes you feel good. Living with your life according to someone else's values and goals can leave you feeling unhappy and unfaithful. You may find yourself frequently seeking validation from your parents and others, relying on them to determine and validate your self-worth. Now we got 2 reflection questions. Think about them and answer them. Question number 1. What do you do to please your parents even though it doesn't work well for you? Question number 2. What do you need to do for yourself even if your parents disapprove? Strategy number 2. Set and enforce boundaries. Boundaries help us set clear expectations and limits for how others can treat us. They can help create emotional and physical space between you and your parents. This may not have been something you had as a child, so it may feel uncomfortable to set boundaries and start telling your parents how you want to be treated. Setting boundaries with people who have toxic behaviors can be difficult. They may not respect limits, but try not to let that deter you. Boundaries are essential to building and maintaining healthy relationships. Now we got 2 reflection questions. Question number 1. What boundaries do you need with your parents? Question number 2. What's one step you can take towards setting those boundaries? Strategy number 3. Don't try to change them. Trying to change people who don't want to change can leave you frustrated and overwhelmed. Instead, try to focus on what you can control, such as how you respond to your parents, your choices, and your behavior. Now we got 3 reflection questions. Question number 1. How do you try to change or fix your parents? Question number 2. How do you feel when you can't change them? Question number 3. With regard to your relationship with your parents, what's in your control? Strategy number 4. Be mindful of what you share with them. Trust is a crucial element of healthy relationships, so consider only sharing personal information with those who have proven themselves trustworthy. Your parents may not fall into this category if they gossip about you, criticize you, share things about you without your permission, use what you tell them against you. You're not obligated to tell them anything or everything that's going on in your life or answer their question. Consider sharing only what feels comfortable and safe. Now we got 2 reflection questions. What feels safe to share with your parents? What doesn't feel safe to share? Strategy number 5. Know your parents' limitations and work around them, but only if you want to. If you know what your parents become forgetful, aggressive, or otherwise difficult after a certain time of day, try to plan your phone calls, visits, and family get togethers earlier in the day to avoid them worse of their behavior. This can be an effective coping strategy for some, but you don't have to plan your life around your parents. You can work around their limitations if that works for you. It's okay to have your birthday party in the evening and not invite your parents because you don't want them to ruin it. Here was 5 tips about toxic parents and how to cope with them. I will explain 5 more tips in the next video.